Welcome to Afterlife. We are your hosts. I'm Joel.
I'm Ashley.
And we are the Articulate Coven. And this is the Articulate Coven Afterlife. We have finished with Welcome to Derry.
We have.
Or season 1 anyway. Chapter 2 will be here, I hope, eventually. Ashley, why haven't we gotten a renewal?
I'm not really sure why there hasn't been an official renewal yet. I mean, I think it could be kind of like just assumed, but I also think maybe because of the changes that are happening, they may be waiting on a few things, like waiting to trickle out timing of things. You know, it could change scheduling.
Question.
So, I mean, there's a lot of change happening with HBO, so.
Reed Hastings may want to be the one to say when Pennywise is going to return instead of
I think it's pretty well a done deal. I can't imagine that they would not. It was it was well watched. It was very popular.
Hello. You are watching Articulate Coven Afterlife. This is a Patreon exclusive segment that, because we have timed it out right, we are now offering to you on YouTube. You might notice, since I'm wearing a Mardi Gras shirt, that you are way behind our patrons. We have covered Welcome to Derry, the It television series from HBO Max, its first season. We're going to be covering Castle Rock from Hulu. We're going to be covering Heated Rivalries from HBO Max. We're going to be covering Stranger Things, just in a one-off episode from Netflix. We're going to be talking about the series Hemlock Grove, which Ashley and I have both wanted to talk about in the past and have never gotten around to. So all of that and more is coming up exclusively for our patrons. When we finish an individual series set of discussions for our patrons, and all of them have been released, we'll probably start releasing them week to week for YouTube, just like we're doing with this video that you're watching right now. You can get them early, ad-free, all of our stuff more often at articulatecoven.com/join. $2 or more a month gets you access to everything we do. If you're not in a position to support the show financially, then keep supporting it right here. Like this video, give us some hype, share the channel with your friends. Thanks, everybody, and enjoy the video. Yeah, and it's done great online too. There's been a lot of discussion and a lot of hubbub about it. So I think it's one that they will use moving forward. It's a very big piece, I think, of the current Warner Brothers stew. So wherever they end up, I think we'll see it sooner rather than later. Okay. How long had it been? You saw this miniseries, I think, before we started talking about Welcome to Derry, right? You had watched it?
So I rewatched it last year, for sure. Like, I rewatched it last year, and I watched that documentary last year. So I'd watched both of those pretty fresh. Had it been a while since you watched it?
At least 20 years, maybe closer to 30. Honestly, like I don't know. I know I've seen it since it aired. Mm-hmm. I know I rented it and watched it on VHS at least a time or two with friends. So when it aired,
we recorded it on VHS off the TV. Like that's how my dad was so fucking excited about this miniseries. This was one of his favorite books. Stephen King was his favorite author. And like anytime it was a birthday, Father's Day, whatever, he got whatever new Stephen King book came out, and he was so pumped for this series. So like we were all excited about it, piled up in the house together and watched it when it came out and recorded it. So we had it on a VHS tape. We could rewatch it whenever we wanted.
It's so weird to think about. And if you're younger than us, especially if you're, let's say if you're in your early 30s or definitely if you're in your 20s, you probably don't have any concept of this, but like the TV miniseries was a huge thing, and this was the first time not the first time, because Salem's Lot had been a miniseries as well.
Yeah, but this went harder, like this went a lot harder than and the source material goes a lot harder too. So this was really kind of hard for them to put together and get approval for, but they knew it was gonna make them a ton of fucking money.
It was also, it's hard to believe, but it's pretty quick on the release of the book. Like this was not a long in gestation production, so cool. If you would have told me before I started watching this the other day that it was only 3 hours long, I would have called you a liar.
Right? It feels like it was longer than that.
It felt 6 hours. If you would have asked me, I would have said it's 6 hours at least.
I didn't remember it only being 2 nights. Like, in my
Yeah, that's
brain,
what
it
I'm
was like, it was at least 3
I
nights
thought
and
it
they were
might have been
2 hours
4.
each. Yeah. In my
I thought it
brain,
might have been 4 nights,
yeah.
and maybe there were a lot of commercials, or maybe it was just the 3 nights, but they were long or something. So in my head, I thought we were gonna watch about 6 hours of TV,
Yeah, it's only 3.
and I gotta say, overall, it's a really, really well done 3 if you're gonna make this book in 3 hours, they do a pretty fucking good
Yeah.
job of it.
It is it's a pretty tight adaptation, to be honest. You
Yeah,
know?
and the things they cut out are I mean, it's not that I don't miss some of the things that they cut out, but they are not in service to the story they're telling, right?
Yes, I
This
agree with that.
of the 2, as far as like streamlined adaptations go, I think this is better than the 2 movies, honestly. The movies do more things that I like. It's
Yes.
obviously modern special effects. They get to go in a little bit to the backstory in a way that this doesn't. But as far as one cohesive story, this one's better, I think,
Yeah.
honestly.
It's really, really it's a very tight adaptation. And I think that the things that the new versions, the films add to it, I love and appreciate, but and I may have missed them, like, at the time, like, "Oh, I wish they did more at the Neibolt house," or whatever,
Yeah.
but it really wasn't anything that registered with me as being something I was missing out on,
No.
They hit most of the high points pretty hard and well, and then you just have the fucking Tim Curry of it all.
It's funny because I had just gone back and listened or watched some of that first episode where we discussed in the Afterlife segment about the newer movies, but it was interesting to me see that this miniseries does what I had said they should have done in the movies, which is start with the grown-ups. You
Mhm.
bookend it just like the book does.
Mhm.
Show me that that this thing is happening again, and then you're like, what's happening again? Then show me.
Yeah.
Show me the mystery and
I
let
I
it
really
unfold
do
both at
like
the
it.
same time.
Yeah, and it makes you more connected to the adults, like, right off the bat, because 'cause you're seeing them as kids instead of seeing the kids as adults, if that makes
Yeah.
any sense at all. Like, it's like, "Oh, there's an adult, and now I see how they were as a child, and then I'm gonna see them as an adult again, so I'm gonna have like, better connection to them," and I think it helps with, like, the thing that I felt like was missing from the second movie, which is that a real better connection between those adult characters. We get that because of the way that this is structured.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely you do. Okay, we open with Tim Reed as Mike Hanlon, and he's at the crime scene,
Mm.
after this little girl has disappeared. The cop gives this line. He says, "I'm the cop, you're the librarian, okay?" And like Tim walks away, Mike Hanlon walks away. But I thought, yeah, I'm gonna take the librarian 1,000 times out of
Oh my
1,000,
god.
buddy.
Yes, always. Support your local library.
All right, so Tim Reed, where do we know him from? He was on WKRP. That's where I know him
Mhm.
from most. He was on Sister Sister after this, though. He had a good run on that, too.
Oh,
Um,
excellent.
it was fascinating to me and really good on their part, honestly. These are effectively all series actors. These
Mhm.
are actors who have had major popular television series. So every one of these actors pretty much would have been a little bit of a draw on their
Mhm.
own in the TV guide, or whatever,
Yeah,
right?
and that was the thing, like, that was a big thing with these miniseries. You try to get, like, the hottest cast you could because it was such a limited production that if they were doing a series, they could do this in their time off, easily,
Yeah.
that it wasn't gonna be a big issue. So the whole point is to cast the hottest people you can in those roles so that you get the viewership you're looking for.
We've got Richard Thomas as Bill Denbrough. So Richard Thomas is from the Waltons. He plays John
Mhm.
Boy Walton on the Walton series, which I don't know if you grew up in a house that showed the Waltons ever. My father loved the Waltons. He thought it was the greatest thing that had ever happened.
I was not a Walton household.
I did
I'm
not care
sure
for the
everyone's
Waltons.
shocked.
Yeah, yeah. I did not care for the Waltons, but I do know the Goodnight John Boy, Goodnight Mary Ellen, Goodnight,
Yeah.
Goodnight, Goodnight, Goodnight a million times. Richard Thomas as Bill Denbrough is a very good fit.
Yeah, he is.
We talked in the movie version that I didn't think that James McAvoy, I love James McAvoy,
I
but
do
I don't think he
too.
pulls off the vulnerability for adult
Yeah.
Bill. Richard Thomas absolutely does.
A
He hits all those
100%.
notes.
And he does
Yeah.
see and he feels like someone that these people would want to help so that they can help protect him. Like that feels really, really accurate and true in this adaptation, which I don't necessarily feel that as strongly in the film.
Yeah. Man, okay. Since we talked about Richard Thomas, let's talk about Jonathan Brandis as young Bill. Okay,
Oh my God, I was so in
first of
love with
all,
him.
yeah, I think I was too, honestly. I had forgotten
Ugh.
Jonathan Brandis died though until I was watching the documentary, Ashley. I
Oh,
had
yeah.
forgotten. I'd
Oh.
forgotten it completely. I got so sad again.
Oh,
Um,
that was so tragic. He was only, like, 26, I think.
yeah, and I mean, like, not it's I don't know necessarily that he was gonna have, like, the career that a River Phoenix was gonna have, but, like,
He was
it
really good. Like, he
it's
was
that level.
yeah.
Yeah, it's sad. It's
Yeah, it's
genuinely tragic.
awful. It's awful, but he was wonderful in this. He was just perfect
It's
casting, I
really
feel
good.
like.
His stutter is pretty good too. I feel like the
Mhm.
stutter's hard to deliver in a way that is natural and
Real,
that doesn't
yeah.
come off as, um
A
yeah, I mean,
caricature.
like, corn pony, you know? Like, it feels very I don't know, it's like a lot of actors can't play drunk, right?
Mhm.
They're very cartoonish when they play drunk. I feel like most people cannot pull off the stutter very well. He does a good
Yeah.
job of not overdoing it and making it genuinely part of his character. It feels real.
Yeah, it
Um,
does.
Man, okay, the violence of this thing. When I was a child, Ashley, I would have said that there was like Texas Chainsaw Massacre and then the It miniseries
Yeah.
ever so slightly at a right under that with like Faces of Death probably ever so slightly above Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
No, I think we all remember it being way more violent than it truly is because it had to pass
There's
standards of
just none.
practices. Yeah,
There's
there's
so little scary in this at all, honestly, as far as like it almost all does the universal monster of like I show fangs and then we
mhm.
cut.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Y-
Absolutely. And I mean, so much of that is by necessity, but I also think it helps the tension in it. It kind of helps because you
It
think you
sort
saw
of
it.
does.
You know, you think you
Yeah.
saw the blood, you think you saw the bite, you think you saw the violence, but you do not.
No, no.
Yeah, it's
All right.
really interesting.
The amazing John Ritter as Ben Hanscom.
Oh,
He was my favorite when I was a kid. I thought
I
John
love
Ritter was
John
so
Ritter.
funny. The idea of putting John Ritter in this movie and not making him
Richie?
Richie Tozier
Yeah, is kind of wild, right?
is crazy. It
Yeah.
makes sense once you know who our Richie is, but still, it's like, how do you have that discussion in the casting room, right?
How is yeah, like that's I mean, Harry Anderson is perfect as
Yeah,
Richie
he's
Tozier.
great. He's so good
He's
at it too.
perfect.
Yeah.
And I don't think he would have
Um,
been probably as good as
I don't think he would have
Ben
been
if
any
they
good
had
as Ben
flipped the
Hanscom. No.
characters, you
Yeah.
know, so and
You're
that was really good
100% right.
casting. And it's
Well,
always great to get to see an actor that's known for comedy to get to stretch a little bit. And they are all
yes.
funny. These characters all have senses of humor, so that skill set is definitely put to use for sure.
Yeah. Um, okay, we've got Brandon Crane plays young Ben. He had a run in the Wonder Years as well as this. That was about the
Super
only
cute
big thing on
kid.
his thing. Yeah, really, really cute kid. And there's a joke in the documentary that they were the two that looked the least alike
Yeah.
of all of the actors, and so they developed some special like sort of physical tics to try
Yeah.
to mimic each other.
I
Um,
love that. I love he took the
okay,
time to do that. I love that they took the time to do that with those kids. Like, it sounds like most of those
yeah.
adult actors really spent time with the kids, getting to know them and making them comfortable, you know?
It seems like everybody had a pretty good time on the set,
Yeah,
honestly.
it
This seems like
does.
a production that people remember fondly.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It seems like everyone was getting into some shenanigans and having like a
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a really lovely scene when Ben meets Bill and Stanley.
Mm,
They do a really good job of that in this. It's the same thing when Mike finally joins the losers as well.
yeah.
I feel like they do a very good job of that in this.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean when I say there are so many things that are cut out of this, even in comparison to the movies, even in comparison,
100%.
especially in comparison to the books or to the book. We always say the books like there are more than one.
I
The
know.
book's
The
fucking
book
1,300 pages though. So like,
is a
give us a
beast.
break. It's a library of novels is what it is. Um, anyway, even though they cut those things out though, because they really hit I mean, I stand in awe, honestly, of the adaptation.
Mhm.
If you watch the documentary, they wanted to make an 8-hour thing.
Yeah.
He said 10, and then he would settle for 8. He's like, 8 would be the least we could do. And they were like, how about 4? And then he's like, how about 3 plus commercials? So they finally cut it down to 2 nights. But the fact that they were able to keep so much of the heart of the story is genuinely a testament to these creatives. Like, this is a good team that put this thing together. There's
really,
a reason
really
we remember
is.
this miniseries 40 years later.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This miniseries terrified my sister so much, and we fucked with her so badly. I won a clown in one of those. My parents were in like a bowling league for a couple of years, which was kind of weird. But like, I'd spend like that night at the bowling alley, and I got incredibly good at the claw machine. And I was fucking popping prizes out of that motherfucker every night, leaving with an armload of shit. And I got this creepy little clown doll, snuck into my sister's bedroom, and I hung it from her ceiling fan by the neck. Really fucked up. And then my dad unscrewed the shower head and filled it with black cherry Kool-Aid so that when she turned on the shower, it looked like blood was coming out of the shower.
That's pretty fucked up, honestly. That is serious right there.
It's a crazy good prank. I love it.
Yeah. Okay, Annette O'Toole is our Beverly Marsh. Man, Bev Marsh has a shit hand dealt in every universe, doesn't she?
She just, bless her heart.
Okay, this one, in her childhood in this film, they don't really go into the sexual manipulation of it all, like they do in the books and in the movies. But he's still an abusing ass daddy. Like,
it's terrifying. He's very scary, and when they do the in the second, in night 2, when they do the Mrs. Kirsch, and she kind of morphs into him, it's so gross and scary. Like, oh god.
Okay, that was a moment that I'd completely forgotten. I honestly thought that the Mrs. Kirsch scene was new in the movies.
Oh no!
And in the film adaptation, obviously she turns big and she's naked. She's
so
like stomping towards her or whatever. But it's so brilliant the way they morph her into him, but in her clothes.
Yeah.
So it's Daddy Marsh dressed as Mrs. Kirsch, and it's so fucking spooky.
I worry about you, Bevy. Sometimes I worry about you a lot. Ugh.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, indeed. Okay. I did not remember that Seth Green was in this at all.
Yeah.
I did not remember him at all in this. He's so good.
He's so tiny and cute. Yeah, he's precious in this.
Okay, he is tiny for Seth Green, but it's crazy to think he's one of the older kids. He's like a foot taller than almost everybody else, and I think he's a couple of years older than everybody else.
And he's with Eddie a lot, and the kid that plays Eddie is so tiny. He's like the smallest one of all of them. So I love the child casting was really great. I mean, both sets of casting were fantastic for this. But
so Seth Green obviously did a bunch of stuff, but we probably all know him best for Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Robot Chicken.
Harry Anderson is grown-up Richie Tozier. Harry Anderson, of course, from Night Court, among other things. He was on Cheers a bunch too. He was so good in Cheers.
Night Court.
I adore both of them, and I think they're a really good match for Richie too, as young and old Richie. Dennis Christopher plays Eddie Kasbrak.
Oh, he's so sweet.
And Adam Farazel plays young Eddie. So Adam was also in RoboCop 2, and he's in Lonesome Dove as well.
All right.
Yeah. If I were you guys, I wouldn't pay to see monster movies. I just look in the mirror. I fucking love it. So they accidentally dropped some shit on on Henry Bowers and his crew downstairs at the movie theater. And so Richie's like, oh, what we need to do is tell him to suck my balls and drop this slushy on him.
Drop a Coke on him too. Yeah. This will be great. This is going to end well for all of us. Let me escalate the situation.
Listen, if you ever find yourself in a Stephen King story, just don't go near the water. Just period. Honestly, we're all going to be very musty, a little crusty in Stephen's worlds. That's okay. We will all know the rules. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Yeah. deodorant's a must because your bathroom's a place of horrors.
We're all going to be wearing that aluminum filled deodorant. That's right. Okay, Tim Curry is Pennywise. Let's talk a little bit about him. So, okay, Tim Curry, one of my favorite actors ever. He's amazing in just so many various roles that he's played over the years. You forget how many he's played because he really, I mean, okay, the one that sticks out to me probably the most is in Legend.
Darkness. Yeah.
Yeah, Darkness. He plays Darkness in Legend, but he's in so much prosthetics. You almost forget that it's Tim Curry.
I'm fairly certain that's the very first thing I ever saw Tim Curry in.
Yeah, it was probably the first thing I saw him in too. I mean, obviously he's Frankenfurter. He's in Clue. He's got the great role in Home Alone 2. I mean, he's been in a million things over the years. He's voiced a ton of things too, but it's interesting to me. I think there is less Tim Curry in this Pennywise than there is Bill Skarsgård in Bill's Pennywise. I think Tim is doing less here ever than Bill does almost ever. Like, I think Bill is always above where Tim ever gets, which is interesting because in my memory, I would have told you, oh, Bill is doing a pale imitation of what Tim brought to the, in my head, Tim was just all over the place, right? Did a million things in this role.
I mean,
he's pretty straightforward on us. He's scary. Don't get me wrong.
And he does really good performance. Like, that's the thing about it, is that it's another role that he kind of just disappears into. And Pennywise is when he makes a turn, he's so threatening in this. It makes me very uneasy. And I think too, probably because I saw it so young too, it's probably part of my brain remembers being very scared of him, but he's so fucking good in this role. And the fact that they were able to back off some of the prosthetics that they wanted to use just because his face is so fucking brilliant is incredible. And a good reason never to put Botox into your face.
You strongly agree with that. Strongly agree with that, man. Age appropriately and use your whole instrument.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And again, I don't mean to downplay it. I don't mean to say that I don't like it. It is just interesting to me to break that down and to see like, oh, this isn't, I don't know. It's like, if you go back and watch Silence of the Lambs, Anthony Hopkins' performance is amazing, but it's honestly one of the reasons why it's so amazing is that it's so restrained, right? He's doing so little, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Tim Curry is doing much less than you might imagine he's going to do here, and yet it's still very effective. The other thing that I think is unsettling to me in some ways is that in everything I've ever seen Tim in, I think of him as seductive as well as unnerving, right? He's got a very unnerving, it's not a naturally attractive face that he brings to the role, and yet it is also always seductive.
Yeah.
Even as Darkness, he's very seductive.
Very.
He's fucking
That's
terrifying.
Huge
but
piece
it's
of that
real
character.
Sexy.
Yeah.
It's real sexy too.
That character.
He does not bring that seduction at all to Pennywise. Which is interesting because even with the further advancements that they do in the look, Bill does bring the seduction every now and again in Pennywise.
Oh.
It's just, I think it's an interesting study to watch these two actors, to have seen so much of Bill especially, and then to get to compare him to this performance from Tim Curry is nice. I like it a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. The things that they're able to do with special effects in this too, in this time period, and everything they do is practical, is pretty impressive. Some things look a little hokey, obviously, that's the way it is. But like every time a monster appears, they're fucking scary. Like that werewolf is scary, that mummy is scary.
Werewolf's great.
The werewolf is so great. When Pennywise, that scene in the bathroom with Eddie in the shower is so scary to me. It fucking fucked me up.
I think it's Ben, the first one that goes down by the sewer pipe when the skeleton reaches out of the swamp and grabs the leg or whatever.
Yeah,
that's
Ben
a really
sees
good
his dead dad. Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We don't even get that at all, I don't think, in the movie adaptation, the idea of Ben seeing his father at all, but like I like that too, yeah.
Yeah. The other things I really loved in this were when the postcard starts moving, like that section when they're looking at the picture at the photo album and the postcard starts moving and he comes out of the fucking postcard. I love that shit. It's so good.
Um, Okay. Oh, there's a funny line here. Eddie's running away back to Derry, and his agent's like, "Who's going to do Carson?" And he goes, "Let Leno do it. I don't care." I love the idea that in 1990, Leno was filling in for Johnny Carson,
Yeah.
and it wasn't even like,
it's a very different time. Very different time.
He wasn't supposed to take over. Everybody thought it was going to be Letterman. Everybody thought it was going to be Letterman.
I love David Letterman.
I like the idea it could have been Richie Tozier, though.
I do too.
That's funny to me.
Excellent. Set him up. Set him up right.
So this is one of my favorite scenes of the whole movie, Ashley, and I think this is telling about Derry. We get the kids down at the Burrows, and they're building the dam, and this cop stops to see what they're doing and what they're getting up to. First of all, they give this cop in Derry, Maine, an Irish brogue, thick Irish brogue.
It's that way in the book. Officer
Velma
Nell
was killed, her body found down by the canal. So if you kids are coming down here to play, you come all together. Don't come down here where it's dangerous and children have died recently.
Right.
Just come all together so that we can kill you all at once.
Oh, God. Oh, God. I was sitting there thinking, I'm so glad that this is like one adult that's concerned for the safety of these children. Probably not as much.
He's not. He's more concerned about the amount of paperwork that he'll have to do. If they all die at one time, it'll just be one report, Ashley.
One incident report.
So we see young Mike give this speech. He introduces himself to the class. My dad was stationed in Derry during World War II. Interesting. Oh, he was. I wonder if we'll ever see that story. We did see that story. It's in Welcome to Derry.
It was in the 60s, but still.
Yeah, it was in the 60s. The timelines are different.
They funked with the time.
Okay. This teacher has one of the coldest lines of all time. Mike's trying to give his speech. Henry interrupts him and says something shitty. And the teacher says, "Henry, how many years will you be in here with me?"
I love it. I love it. God, poor Henry. I mean, I hate Henry. Henry's a piece of shit. He's an absolute piece of shit, but he is horrifically abused by his father.
Oh, you very badly. Marlon Taylor plays our young Mike, by the way. Okay, the rock fight. I love the rock fight. However, I had forgotten how open the language barriers were for racial slurs in 1990, Ashley. Okay, so I just finished reading, or rereading, I should say, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. And I knew going in, very famously, it's obviously there's a lot of slurs in The Adventures of Huck Finn, which I'm going to read soon. I'm very much looking forward to reading James this year, the new adaptation from Jim's perspective. And to get that, I wanted to read the originals. I wanted to compare the language in the new one to Twain's especially. I love Twain. He's awesome. There's a lot of forward-thinking stuff there. These characters are all very funny. I'm always struck by how episodic Tom Sawyer is. Tom Sawyer feels like he's writing comic strips. It's very...
Yeah.
And then Tom did another funny thing. And then at the end, it's all about a buried treasure, because that's... Let me find a way to wrap this up. But having said that, I forgot how many. There's so many N-words in that book. There's a lot of them, man. Okay, there's more than I remembered being in this, too. Henry Bowers is free with it, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah. Whew. That actor even talks about that in
the doc. Yeah,
in the documentary.
He kept apologizing.
It's like, I'm so sorry.
Okay, so Ashley, I did a play one time when we were in college called Master Harold and the Boys, which is a one act. It's like an hour and 15 minutes long. It's all one piece, though. And it's set in South Africa in a little cafe where a young white kid is dealing with the two black workers in this cafe. The white kid's parents own the place. And these two men have been like family members to him. And yet Master Harold is displaying his white privilege, and his raging hormones are being brought out in some very unnatural ways. I had to spit in the face of our buddy Nick Harrison every night on stage.
Oh, God. I can't imagine.
Yeah. I got slapped afterwards, so it was kind of okay. It always made me feel, I was like, well, I get what's coming to me.
Yeah.
But it's very difficult to do a scene like that, to do a storyline like that. Like I'm an actor, I'm your peer, you and I are coworkers here together. We're trying to form a friendship, and yet we got to get in front of the camera or get on stage and do these terrible things to one another.
Yeah.
Or in this case, one of us has to do terrible things to the other one. Yeah, I feel for these kids. I like that they just don't bring this into the modern adaptations. Is my point.
Yeah, I do too.
Henry can be terrible without using the N-word every time.
Yeah.
That's my point. Yeah.
100%.
Okay. Brandis is really quite good as Bill. Like, we talked about him a little bit earlier, and he was a big heartthrob at the time. He was a big draw on his own.
He was such a heartthrob. I mean, my God, every girl my age was in love with him.
Okay, they're chasing Henry off after this rock fight, and Henry says, "What if I won't?" And Bill says, "I think the 6 of us could put you in the hospital." And that's when Mike stands up and says, 7. I love that moment.
Yeah, it's great.
We're sort of a club. You want in?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. It's true for us too right now. There's more of us than there are of these thugs and fascists. All 6 of us could put them in the hospital. That's
right.
You need to remind yourself that. So
fuck Henry Bowers.
Stand together, stay strong. Okay, we get a little glimpse of Perfect Strangers on the TV. Ashley, I was so tickled to see it. Cousin Balky back there to remind us, by the way, that this is an ABC production. This was coming out on
100%.
on ABC. All right, Richard Mazur as Stanley Uris. We haven't talked about him so far. Ben Heller plays the young Stanley. But Richard Mazur is from The Thing, which we covered not too long ago. He was in My Girl. He was in License to Drive. He was in Risky Business. A ton of movies.
Great actor.
It kind of blows my mind when you run down that list of films that they would get him for this role, and then you realize what they did here. This is stunt casting. This is Drew Barrymore in Scream.
Yeah,
Ashley,
yeah.
The TV audience that had not read this book is watching this show, and they see the listings and they're like, Richard Mazur, big actor. Okay, great. And they get to the end of night 1 and Richard fucking dies and doesn't even make it back to Derry.
Yep.
And you're like, oh shit. It would have been such a shock, honestly. I love it. I had never thought it's not played out that way in the film. That actor wasn't particularly like more famous in a stunt casting or something. And also,
people
it's
are more
a 40-year-old book. People know.
People are more familiar with the story now.
But still, would have been a cool moment in 1990 probably for a lot of those non-Stephen King fans, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. If you didn't know what was coming, holy shit.
Okay, Henry grabbing Stanley in the sewer is one of the biggest scares of the whole thing for me now as an adult. The whole group of kids are in the sewer, and Henry grabs him from behind and covers his mouth so that the group doesn't hear him. And I got shook in that moment, honestly. Also, we haven't talked about this, but this sewer set is fucking fantastic.
Yeah, it is.
For a TV production.
It is really good. Yeah, it's really good. It's creepy and awful and claustrophobic, and but
it's also grand, like, and it feels like okay, in the movie adaptations there's that moment where they go into the lower level and they see where the asteroid struck, and it's this giant cavernous cave, right? Like that. This has that feel. It's a grand place for us to have this battle and interaction a couple of times actually as it plays out. But like, good on them, man. They were able to put it together on what I'm assuming is a much more reasonable budget than we would have done these things these days.
Right. On HBO, this costs a lot more money.
Yeah. Okay. The kid getting folded up and dragged through the sewer pipe is a fucking crazy stunt, Ashley. It's so good.
I love that the kid wanted to try it himself. The stunt actor or his stunt double was like
stretching.
Bro, I can't even do that. That's not a thing.
Henry's hair turning white is pretty silly. That's one of the silliest moments of this thing for me.
For sure. That moment kind of, it okay. And it's not even really necessary. You know what I mean?
No, I get what they were going for, I guess, but like, it's just not. You could just have him pass out deadlights, or whatever. I don't know. Okay. This adaptation is just so much more straightforward. There's no cycle, really. There's no big event. Also, they basically just let Bev do it. Like, I'd kind of forgotten that. Like, Bev's the one that kills him effectively the
Yeah.
first time, at least. They beat it up a little bit, but um, I I don't know. They play it as if it is more unclear. It felt obvious to me that it was not really dead and they were going to have to come back. I
Yeah.
guess honestly, that's maybe like for the TV audience. Hey, this is not the end of the story. There is a night 2.
There's
sort
another
of
night
thing.
2, so please
Yeah.
please stay tuned.
Um, okay. I like at the beginning of night 2, though, they go to Mike's house and they're looking around, and Bill goes, "Oh, Bev's old house. Her dad was the janitor. This was Poor Town." And Mike goes, "Yeah, still
Still
is.
is.
This is my place."
I live right here.
Somebody in one of the comments on Facebook, I think, said, "I love the idea of Poor Town being this 2-story Victorian like, that's a nice house, Ash."
Well, it is true. It is true. I will say that there are a lot of really, like, cool-looking houses and some rundown neighborhoods in a lot of cities, you know?
That's fair. That's fair.
White flight did a hell of a thing to cities, you know? As someone who lives in a bad neighborhood myself.
Okay. Bev. All right, so Bev shows up to the restaurant and she says, "What a bunch of handsome old men," and then immediately passes
out. Ugh. I hate the whole damsel in distress. Why do we have to do that?
Okay. I want to talk about something here. When she wakes up, she gives what is about the hottest kiss that network TV will allow you to give to Bill. Like, her and Bill I got a little flustered, honestly. I was like, okay, hello. Okay, here's my thing though. Bev is very physically affectionate to all of the men in this show. Did you notice? She touches all of them very intimately, except for Mike. She don't touch Mike, Ashley. Why? Because in 1990 you didn't have a white woman touch a black man intimately on TV. You just didn't.
Oh, Christ.
I'm telling you, go back and watch. She strokes their faces. She wraps her arms around their shoulders and pulls them in close to them. She
holds hands,
hugs them and nestles into their chests. She holds hands at different times with all of them. She kisses Bill and Ben at different times. She sleeps with Ben eventually. Never touches Mike. Never touches Mike.
Damn.
It was just, I was like, okay, all right. But it is also interesting to me that they do two things with the sexuality of this group in this miniseries. They very specifically make it obvious to us with some lines that nobody had an orgy in the sewer when they were children.
For sure.
Because Eddie is a virgin when he's grown. So they definitely for sure did not have sex in the sewers. Don't even worry about it.
Thank you very much.
But also they do this weird intimacy thing with Bev, with the whole group. Eddie even says, I never could sleep with anybody I wasn't in love with. And I was only ever in love with you guys with all of you. It's weird that they felt like, okay, we have to hint at it for the book readers, but also we very specifically cannot do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't even think, here's the thing. I don't even need you to hint at it. I can do without it completely.
I don't need you to hint at it either. I really don't. But I guarantee you the physical affection from Bev to the group is purposeful.
Yeah.
And also the lack of physical affection to Mike is purposeful. It's not because she don't love Mike. It's because Mike was black and you can't touch a black man when you're Annette O'Toole. So strange. So strange, man. Okay, so Bill's wife figures in here. But they don't really do that at all in the movie versions. Basically, she never comes back into town. And they don't really do the version of it from the book exactly. They sort of like half-heartedly do it.
The other thing that happens in tandem with that is that Bev's husband comes after her in the book.
Yes, and they just cut that out completely.
Yeah, and so those two things happen in tandem and are kind of intertwined. And so I think that part of that is because that's never done. That part of the adaptation never seems quite right. And night 2 of this is not as strong as night 1. I think that's universally agreed upon.
So the documentary makes clear. So what happened was the writer of night 1 had another gig. They needed to do a rewrite of night 2, and he wasn't available. So the director ends up rewriting night 2 on his own. And he admits it. He's like, I wish
It's
we
not
had the
as
magic of night
yeah,
one.
it's not as great as night one. It's good, but it's not
Yeah.
as great. Yeah.
Um, so apparently, though, if you watch the documentary, the original version did in fact actually have Bev's husband coming back, and he was effectively like possessed by Pennywise. He's who they really fight in the final battle,
Mhm.
effectively, which is again not how it plays out in the book, but it's sort of like a streamlining of what they do in
Right.
the book. I wonder if that might almost be more satisfying. And they talk about this in the doc too. When they go down to kill it the second, they've heard it and it retreats, and then they go down to kill it finally, and it's still the big spider monster thing. They
Mhm.
push it over on its side and everything. The director especially was like, I wish we'd brought Pennywise back. I wish we had
Yeah.
had, and in the film they do. Remember they show the shrinking Pennywise face like melting into the
Mhm.
thing, and it's more affecting to have our antagonist that we've dealt with
Yeah.
show back up and be involved instead of the Harryhausen monster,
Yeah.
Um anyway. Okay. Uh all right. I loved the moment where Pennywise is in the moon above the
Oh, Henry
insane
Bowers?
asylum.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's there to see Henry. I thought that was pretty cool.
I'm pretty sure that's how
Okay.
it's done in the book too. I think that the moon
I think
starts
you're right. I
talking to
think he's the
him.
man in the moon. The fortune cookies. Okay, I
Oh,
didn't know this. They did this like Alien. The cast didn't know what was in the
I
fortune
love
cookies
this. I love this
until they're filming it.
scene. I love the scene in both versions, to be honest.
Yeah.
This like restaurant scene is one of my favorite parts of the book. It's so great. Everyone getting back together and uh, getting on the same page and remembering, starting to remember things. Um, yeah, and it's these little effects are really, really fantastic. Fucking bird in there is so gross.
Oh, oh, it's weird too. It's such a good choice because until that moment they've escalated, right? It's like spiders, and then it's gooey, and then it's like an eyeball
Eyeball,
monster. Okay, and you think, oh, we're going to get another, this will be it proper. No, it's
it's
just
just
a
a,
dying baby fetus,
like a
a bird or whatever. Yeah.
bird fetus.
That's awesome. It's such a good choice because it's like more realistic and therefore more horrible.
Well, I love it too
Um,
because it's a little bit of a nod to Mike's bird that never, ever, ever in any version of anything gets
Nobody
mentioned.
sees the giant bird. Exactly. Yeah. Okay, there's a poster behind them when they're in the library so there's a whole section set up for Bill Denbrough novels,
Hmm.
and there's a poster for an adaptation of one of his novels into a movie. It's called The Glowing, and it's a picture of a scary hotel. I loved it. I was like, yes.
I love his books. Like when you get a little like glimpse of the fiction within the fiction is always so fun.
Yeah, it's very clear that Bill has basically mirrored Stephen King's
Yes.
career, I think.
And whether he knows it
Um,
or not, he's writing about his childhood.
yeah, right. Stan's head in the fridge is a very
Ooh.
good scary moment too. That's a cool one when they open up the fridge. Um,
Because
very much
they need a
reminded
fucking
me.
drink already, and then they open the
Yeah,
fridge and
right.
their friends' heads in there.
Okay, it reminds me though of the heads in Return to Oz when they're
Oh.
going down the hallway in Return to Oz, and there's
Mhm.
the queen has all the heads.
Who thought it was a
Um,
good idea to let children watch
it's just,
that
I don't.
movie?
Okay, Tim Curry has a moment in the documentary where he's talking about people have come up to him over the years and say, you ruined my childhood when I watched your miniseries, and he says, oh, you shouldn't have been watching it.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, so Mike is talking in the he's talking in the adult storyline, and they're going back through the history and the events, and they're like lining everything out. Mike says that the black spot burned in 1960, but that's their cycle. Did he just misstate, or I don't, in the book, first of all, in this miniseries it's every 30 years. In the book it's 27 or 28.
27. I think it's
I thought it was
27.
the same as the movies. Yeah, which is 27 years, every 27 years. So I don't understand. I got confused on the timeline here a little bit.
I missed that. I mean, I didn't even really clock that.
Yeah, he says specifically, if you go back in time every 30 years, there's a major event. The black spot burned in 1960, and then he goes back to 1930 and talks about the ironworks, and then he goes back and talks about blah blah blah. They do the gang massacre was in
Mhm.
1900 in their timeline. Anyway, It did occur to me, though, 1990 is not really their cycle.
Yeah.
There is a group of children that are fighting it right now that we don't know about, actually. Have you ever thought about that?
Yeah.
There's a story in this version that we don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
'Cause
I
kids
wonder if the TV show will ever do that.
I
Like,
mean, they have
there could be a side story under the adult storyline of part 2
Yeah.
that anyway, it's very, very interesting idea.
And they've set themselves up that time has no rules, so
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Bill's wife gets the deadlights at the city limits, and I had forgotten about that too. I was like,
she
"Oh,
played
damn."
Juliet in that 1970s Romeo and Juliet.
Really?
Mhm.
Okay, she was like 15 when she shot that,
I
wasn't
think,
she?
like,
Isn't that
yeah.
famously the nudity we're not
Oh,
supposed to watch?
yes, yes.
Yes,
Very young. She was
yes.
quite
It's like
young. She might have only been
that
14, actually.
and Michael's wife from Godfather 1 in Italy was also, I think, 16 when she shot that
Oh,
movie too.
God.
You old directors were dirty, y'all.
Yep.
She's beautiful. She's lovely.
Beautiful.
That makes sense. She looked very familiar, but I didn't know what she was from, honestly.
Yep.
Okay. I said it earlier, but I'm going to say it again. They are free with that N-word on network TV in 1990.
They drop that a lot.
It's like,
It
you
is
got to bring it back.
jarring,
We
too,
knew.
because it's so jarring, like, 'cause we're just, like, we've gotten to a point where we're not used. God, I hope you are somewhere where you're not used to hearing that all the time.
Yeah, right? Okay. I loved this moment where Bev comes to thank the poet, but it's not Bev. Like, I knew it wasn't Bev from the moment she starts in with Ben.
Yeah.
But also, it's so awesome when it turns around. It's like, yes.
Kiss me, fat boy.
Okay, Bev finally does figure out, though, that Ben is the one that wrote the poem, and so he gets his kiss for real.
But he's very skeptical
he's like,
about
"Hey,
it.
who are you? Who is this? What's going on?" Okay, Eddie's not a virgin in the book.
No.
And so I genuinely think this was a choice made because some network said, "Hey, we have to make sure that people know they didn't have
Don't
sex
think
at
that
the
they
end of part
had.
1.
They ran a
We
train
cannot have
on
any discussion.
Bev.
I can't have the New York Times writing about the scene
Speculating.
that happens. Yeah, off screen. Okay, what about these idiot boys all approaching the deadlights straight on, looking at him when they do it? They all go to fight the monster, and one by one, they all get knocked unconscious. These fucking numbskulls. Bev has to save them again. By the way. Okay, we're going to talk about Stranger Things, if not next week on Afterlife, maybe the week after. It depends on how quickly I can finish it with the girls. But whenever we do talk about it, though, I'm going to mention this. But it occurred to me as I'm watching this, Nancy from Stranger Things is the only one of them that's a good shot.
Mm-hmm.
That is a direct callback to Bev Marsh.
Absolutely.
That is a Stephen King reference that Bev's the only one that can shoot the slingshot. She's the only one worth a damn. Okay, very Queen of the Damned moment here as they tear its heart out.
Oh, yes. If only they had eaten it.
I didn't recall
maybe one
that.
of them could have become it.
Okay, I don't know if you noticed, but there's a cool moment. So they kill it, and immediately all of the people who were held in the deadlights begin to come down. First of all, good on them for not making them float, which is a hard effect. We just wrap them in cobwebs and we drop them down through the cobwebs.
Them down.
That works great. You can tie up that rigging and hide it behind cobwebs very easily.
Yeah.
But there's a moment though as Audra is dropping down, she is completely covered in cobwebs. There's a camera cut and we cut back to her and she is clean, head to toe, nothing on her at all.
That's
just
a continuity error, friends.
Yeah, it was very, very cute. But okay, she's catatonic. She's left catatonic at the end of this. And I had honestly forgotten about this. This is in the book too. Yep. This happens in the book. He brings her back on the bike. It's a silly, silly thing.
It is.
But it's also beautiful. This is one of the things that Stephen King does well. He I was telling my 17-year-old the other day that I was reading Tom Sawyer.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, hey, have you ever read that? And he goes, no. Isn't it mostly just about like boys doing silly things? And I said, yes, actually. It's just a bunch of stories about boys having silly adventures. There's one of my favorite moments is Huck and not Huck, Tom and one of his best friends meet each other on the riverside on the levee, and they shake hands and sit down beside each other, and then put their gangs of boys to war against each other as the generals. They are gentlemen, so they don't fight each other. They just tell the boys where to go and fight each other. I'm like, oh, that's a great moment. Okay, that's what Stephen King does best, I think. Sometimes we joke about his sexuality, right? Like, because he doesn't know how to write a sex scene. It seems like maybe he's never had sex. It feels like I know he has children, so he must have. But like,
right.
also,
and they do favor him, so
yeah,
at least the boys do.
But he does not seem capable of describing it in a way that makes good sense. And I think whatever it is, I know we're all like, oh, that dark black soul, and he tells these terrible, horrible stories.
He has some childlike wonder in his soul. Yeah.
Yeah, he's such a child. He lives in a world where a fast bike could beat the devil. And wake this woman up from Cavatania, save her from a coma. It's beautiful. It's silly and it's beautiful. And that's Stephen King stories in a nutshell.
Yep.
Honestly.
With a bit
couple of things.
With a bit of buckets of blood thrown in.
With a bit of buckets of blood, that's right. A couple of things from the documentary specifically that we haven't mentioned yet, and you really should go watch both. The documentary's only it's like not quite 2 hours, but it was really, really good. We have Bob Iger to thank that this exists at all. Bob Iger was the one that got it. So they had pitched it to the networks, and the networks was like, the writer gets on a plane and he's headed back home. Bob Iger is on the plane with him, and he realizes that Bob is reading his script. And he races through night 1, puts it up in his briefcase, gets out night 2, races through it, like gets up to stretch, sees the writer a couple of rows behind, and like gives him a nod. It's like, yeah, that's going to be fine. Listen, Bob Iger has made a lot of decisions that I disagree with, but genuinely, his career has been a very special one. And I do think we will look back on, and it's not just like buying Marvel. It's not just like bringing in Star Wars and whatnot. Like, this dude has had a good sense about good storytelling.
Yeah.
For a long time. He really has. We wouldn't have gotten this show without Bob Iger, and it's great. This is a great miniseries.
Yeah, it is. It's very well done.
Okay, and then the one other thing, I want to talk about some of the other possible Pennywises. I'd never heard any of these before. Harvey Fierstein was cast as Pennywise. It was a done deal. And then the network was like, who else do we have? Who else could you potentially bring? We like Harvey's good. We've got a contract. Who else? They were going to go to Roddy McDowall. They were going to go to Malcolm McDowell. They talked to Alice Cooper at one point.
So crazy.
Can you imagine? Actually, it's pronounced Milwaukee and means the good land.
I think they landed on the right fella there. I think that Tim Curry was a great choice for it. I can't imagine anyone else but him playing it. And that's like
strongly agree.
I mean, I think Skarsgård's amazing, and I love his version of Pennywise, and I just can really see them both as two separate sort of entities.
Especially now in a world where we have all these multiverse stories that we know of. Like, that's the way that I'm seeing this. Is there something happened and the timeline was slightly off in this go round, and so Pennywise looks a little different. Bob Gray was a little different, right?
Yeah.
And so the whole world is a little different, but it's the myth is the same. The cycle is sort of the same. The ride was a lot of fun, man. I am so glad we got to go look at that again. It was very enjoyable for me. I hope you all enjoyed revisiting that too, or seeing it for the first time. Some of you are young'uns. You might not have been terrified by Tim Curry.
If you want to fuck with somebody at your house, that shower trick is great. It works.
Yeah. Okay, here's what's funny to think about, Ashley. Tim Curry came off of this gig and then immediately went and voiced the pilot for Batman the Animated Series.
That's
or
so
within
hilarious.
a year. And at which point they were like, actually, Tim, that's too fucking scary. We can't cast you. In fact, let's redo that with Mark Hamill. And so they brought in Mark Hamill ends up voicing
I didn't know he was originally the Joker.
Yeah, Tim Curry was supposed to be the Joker on Batman the Animated Series. It came out that starts in 92, I think, in 91, 92.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but that comes off the back of Batman Returns, and Tim Curry was going to get it, I think, because of it, honestly.
That's crazy.
And then they were like, "This is frightening. Children will cry. We can't do this." Actually,
Mark Hamill's fantastic in that role, though.
Yeah, he's so great, and then he went on to play. I mean, genuinely, like Mark should throw a little tip of the hat to Tim Curry, because without that, Mark doesn't have a job for the next 30. I mean, he's got plenty of jobs, but he played Joker genuinely until very recently, until Kevin Conroy died. He was still playing Joker regularly in various projects and video games and stuff. So I think once Conroy passed away, Mark said he wasn't going to do the Joker anymore without him, but still, weird twist of Hollywood fate there. We could have had Alice Cooper as Pennywise, and then I guess maybe Tim Curry as the Joker, because he wouldn't have been so scary. I don't know.
Maybe so.
All right. Thanks to our patrons for making Afterlife possible. If you're watching these on YouTube, well, goody for you. You're just doing it way late. You can always support the show, articulatecoven.com/join. Genuinely, folks, I'm not sure what our topic is going to be for Afterlife next week. We'll find a good fill-in if we can't get Stranger Things done by then, but probably it'll be Stranger Things, and then we will move on to our next series. I think the general concession or consensus is that we don't need episode-by-episode breakdowns of Heated Rivalry necessarily, but they would like us to maybe respond to the whole season or something like that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Welcome to Derry? Are we doing Welcome to Derry?
So you mean Castle Rock?
Yes, that's what I mean. We just did Welcome to Derry.
I think Castle Rock is the next one. I think we start on Castle Rock after we do the Stranger Things episode, or maybe we won't start it and then do a Stranger Things afterwards. We'll do something to vamp in between next week if we don't finish Stranger Things over here at Casa de Sharpton. But
we'll find something.
When we finish Stranger Things, we will go into Castle Rock. So get ready to do that. I'm so excited to see the Annie season. I have not seen season 2 at all.
I haven't finished it. I've watched about half of it. And I don't know what happened, but I got distracted and I never finished it. So
we've talked about doing Hemlock Grove. Hemlock Grove is another great supernatural series that started really, really strong. And I think I got lost in season 2 or maybe the beginning of season 3. But I'd love to go through and finish some of those and have those great discussions with you all too. So watch for all of that coming soon. Until we're back with you again, we have been your hosts. I'm Joel.
I'm Ashley.
And we are the Articulate Coven. Don't forget, you can get all of this early, ad-free, and more often at articulatecoven.com/join. $2 or more a month gets you access to everything we do early and ad-free. Thanks again for watching. Like the video and share it with your friends.